friend of mine is a minister in Bel Air, California. Bel Air Presbyterian Church. One of the really ritzy places on the face of the planet. Bel Air, I mean, it's where the movie stars live. Mulholland Drive sits in this magnificent place overlooking the valley. She's a minister there. Every Christmas, she goes to the Nordstrom's department store in Bel Air. Now, Nordstrom's is upper class shopping. And in Bel Air, it's upper class shopping. She can't afford to buy anything in the place. But the ambience at Christmas is wonderful. The place is decorated. There's live music on every floor. It's beautifully beautiful. She just likes to wander around and take it in. So she says, I have a Nordstrom's department shopping bag, and I fill it with tissue paper. And I walk around and pretend I'm shopping and just take it in. I'm up on the top floor, she says, and the elevator door opens, and out steps a bag lady. Dirty, filthy bag lady. She's just standing there. All her belongings in a gym bag at her side, filthy and dirty. Obviously, this woman is not going to buy anything on the top floor of Nordstrom's. It's the place where they sell evening gowns. The least expensive evening gown is $1,000. This woman's a street lady. Claire said, I fully expected that a couple of guards would come and get her and usher her out. Instead, a stately saleswoman came over and said, can I help you, madam? Bag lady said, yeah, want a dress. What kind of dress? A party dress. You've come to the right place. We have the finest gowns anywhere. Follow me. Claire said, I moseyed on behind them because I was amazed at this. They go over to a rack of dresses, and they talk about which colors would go best with her eyes and her hair color. Spends 20 minutes talking to this bag lady about dresses. They picked 3 gowns off the rack. The saleswoman said, madam, follow me. I want you to try on these dresses. I just want to get a good look at you wearing each of them. So they go into this dressing room. Claire said, I hustled into the dressing room right next to it and leaned against the wall. You know, I wanted to hear this. They talked for a long time about how the dresses looked and how she appeared, and finally the bag lady said, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to buy a dress today. The saleswoman said, that is quite all right, madam. Here's my card. Should you come back to Nordstrom's, I would be delighted. I would be honored. Here's my card. If you come back to Nordstrom's, would you ask for me again? The bag lady left. When the saleswoman came out of the room with the gowns over her arm, Claire went up to him, wanted to ask her what that was all about. She didn't ask her anything. The woman was wearing a little pin. It said WWJD. Sometimes you preach the gospel all day long. And sometimes you use words and sometimes you don't. That's what Jesus would have done. Now, I told that story at the state prayer breakfast in Seattle, Washington. And the president of Nordstrom's was in the audience. He bought the tape. And now if you go to work for Nordstrom's department store, the first day on the job, they take you in the back room and they play that tape. And they say to the new employee, that's what I expect from you. And if you go into Nordstrom's, you will be treated differently than you will any other store you go into. Go into Nordstrom's, and you will be treated special. That's drilled into your head. One other story. It's my favorite. This is the one to make sure you go out of here with tears in your eyes. It's my favorite story of all. A friend of mine is a school teacher up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And it's the first day of school. And the students come in, and she says, in this public school, what every teacher says. Boys and girls, I love you all the same. Teachers lie. They have favorites. What's even worse is that there are some kids that the teachers don't like. I can vouch for that, I can assure you. Teddy Stoddard was a boy that Gene Thompson did not like. And you would not like him either. He was a singularly unattractive child. He sat slouched in the seat. He didn't pay attention. His clothes were musty. He never bathed often enough to get rid of an unpleasant odor. His hair was unkempt. When she spoke to him, he answered in monosyllables of yeah, no. When she marked Teddy's paper, she got a perverse delight out of putting X's next to the wrong answers. And when she put the F at the top of the paper, boom, 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 she always did it with a flair. She should have known better. Teachers have records, and she had records. First grade. Teddy is a good boy. He shows promise in work and attitude, but poor home situation. Second grade, the records read. Teddy is a good boy. He works hard, but he is too serious for a second grader. His mother is terminally ill. His father shows no interest. Third grade. Teddy is becoming withdrawn, detached from everyone else. His mother died this year. Fourth grade. Teddy is a troubled child. He needs help. She had records. Christmas came. They all brought their presents. The children brought their presents, all brightly colored paper, except for Teddy's present. His was wrapped in brown paper and held together with Scotch tape. To tell the truth, she was surprised he even brought a present. When she tore away the brown paper, out fell a rhinestone bracelet with almost all the stones missing, and a bottle of cheap perfume that was almost empty. Giggles went through the children. She had enough sense to take the bracelet and snap it on her wrist. She took some perfume out of the almost empty bottle and put it on her other wrist. The ugly bracelet with the stones missing and the cheap perfume. She held up the arm, said to the other children, "Isn't it lovely? Doesn't it smell lovely? Isn't it lovely?" Taking the cue from the teacher, they all agreed. At the end of the day, when all the other children had left, Teddy lingered behind. And he came over to the desk and he said softly, Miss Thompson, all day today, you smelled just like my mother used to smell. That's her bracelet you're wearing. It looks very nice on you. I'm really glad you like my presents." And when he left, she got down on her knees and buried her head in the chair and cried and cried and cried and asked God to forgive her. And the next day, when they came into that classroom, this is ending it right where we started it. They didn't come into a classroom. They came into an outpost of the kingdom of God, a place that had been transformed into justice and love, where God's will was done on earth as it is in heaven. She had transformed that class into the kingdom of God. She encouraged the students, especially the slow ones. She tutored those who were having trouble. She nurtured them in love. By the end of that school year, Teddy had caught up with a lot of children. He was even ahead of some. The family moved away, and she didn't hear from Teddy for a long time. And then one day, a note came. "Dear Miss Thompson, I wanted you to be the first to know. I'm graduating from high school. Love, Teddy Stoddard." That's all. 4 years later, another note. "Dear Miss Thompson, I wanted you to be the first to know. I'm second in my class. The university has not been easy, but I really liked it. Love, Teddy Stoddard." 4 years later, another note. "Dear Miss Thompson, as of today, I am Theodore J. Stoddard, M.D. How about that? I wanted you to be the first to know. I'm going to be married, the 27th of July to be exact. I want you to come. I want you to sit where my mother would have sat You're the only family I have now. Dad died last year. Love, Teddy Stollard. And she went, and she sat where the mother would have sat because she deserved to be there. She had turned a classroom into the kingdom of God. And that's what we're all called to do. And that's what this program is all about. It's about working to create the kingdom of God on earth as it is in heaven. Blessings on you. It's 3 o'clock on the dot, and it's time to go.